Anybody knows what a Nath Yogi is? It's an ancient, 25,000 years or longer tradition of these very powerful beings, these, for lack of a better term, almost living descended masters, basically. It's a whole group of them. And he was telling me he was talking to me and found out I had lived in Hawaii once upon a time and I'd studied under David K. Bray and stuff. And then he threw me for a loop because I'm in India to learn what's going on there. And he says, the old Kuhuna traditions and religion has the same frequency and vibration of what we've been teaching here for 25,000 years. The only difference being cultural, language, different words, different mantras, but the same frequencies. And that kind of surprised me because that kind of took me back. Here I am going to India to be meeting with some great yogi to give me all these, great information on, you climb a mountain and there he is waiting for you. And this guy's telling me, go back to where you started. Go back to where you started. This is where my beginning roots was at, right here. For those that have read or watched some of my videos, you may have seen that I had an association with David K. Bray. And what he taught me as an 18-year-old surfer at the time, and he was 66, I think. At the time, he's telling me, he says, I'm going to teach you how to heal people. And I go, oh, okay, that's cool. Yeah, I can do that. Surf's up, but I'll wait. Yeah, this is cool. And he goes, first thing you got to do is love yourself. And I'm going, okay, fine. And then he goes to all this rest of stuff that in 1963, 64 wasn't a big deal worldwide. It wasn't really publicized like it is now. And at the time, I'm going, yeah, okay, fine. Whether I wanted to acknowledge the gift that Bray gave me or not, I was practicing what he told me. I just never realized that he really was more of a teacher than I realized. When somebody teaches you something through example and through words, but most especially through energy, it hits a different place. So it may appear on the surface that things are worse. I'm telling you to think differently. Things are not worse. Focus on the good and the love. You will see the world entirely different. There is a group of people out there, super souls, call them ascended masters, call them whatever you want, but there are people residing on this planet and other spheres that are working to keep this all together. Whatever practices you have, if you have the intentions of doing them with love, I don't care if you mess up, you don't do it right, but your intentions are all in love. It comes from love, it's going to love. There's a benefit. So I'm going to show you some things today. Don't worry about techniques. Honestly, I'm going to show you stuff today because everybody wants technique and do all this stuff. Greatest power of all, not in the hands, the eyes. Great healings happen just by looking. Give you an example. I was in Berkeley. I was invited to come meet this guru. He came to Berkeley from India. And he found out I was in the audience because he'd read my book, about my Vietnam stuff. And this guru became a fan of mine. He read my book. He wants to meet me. So I show up there. When I showed up there, I had been suffering, which I think is a proper word to use here, with seizures. So I'm sitting there, and all of a sudden, because I did not tell the guru that I was having seizures. He had no knowledge. But he stops, and he goes, just like I'm looking at Joy, and he goes, I'm sending healing energy for the brain. And he just stared at me with his eyes. Well, while he was looking at me, my whole body, my Kundalini energy was just kind of, you get that flighty helicopter feeling in your spine. The energy's there. That was August 16th, I believe was the date, 2008. And since that date, which is almost 16 years ago, 15 and a half, I've not had one seizure. Not one. And then afterwards, I tried to thank him for that, and he goes, no. You heal you. You heal you. That's what I'm telling you. Somebody comes to you, and they're doing healing work. People will label them as a healer. They might even use that as a title. But every real healer knows that it's the source. The source is love. It's you that's healing you. It's God that's healing you. It's all one. But if that healer is in tune with that oneness, then he is you. So when he's healing himself, and it's transferring to you, and there's the energy. But it's the belief in that. And I put that to test. I went to his ashram the next year, 2009, and I was painting artwork on this temple wall around midnight. That's what you do in India, right? Midnight, you're painting on this. And I'm up on this makeshift. They didn't have a ladder, so I got a couple chairs, and I'm up on them, and I fall, and I'm heading head first down a stairwell, marble steps, and my foot gets caught in an electrical cord, and it snaps, and I hear this sound like somebody stepping on a bag of potato chips. You know that? And then all of a sudden I feel this great wave of pain, and I look down and my foot is bleeding. It's twisted in 3 directions. It's blue, and it's swollen up huge. I mean, obviously someone was hurt. So they run to get the guru. Because, we got to take this. We got to take Bill to the medical unit. I mean, it's like we're out in the middle of the jungle. It would have been a day's, long drive. But it was like, we got to take him, right? And he looks at me and he goes, "He'll be all right in the morning." And he walks away. And all these people are going, but guru, I mean, look at it. It's bleeding. It's this, that. And he goes, this whole thing, just waves his hand and he walks away. So his wife comes out, because they went and got his wife, like, you better talk some sense into this. So she comes out and she looks at me, and it was so bad looking, she started crying. Oh, tears coming down really bad. And she goes, "Oh, it's so bad." And I said, "Wait." I said, "Your husband was here, and he told me that it'd be all right in the morning. There was nothing wrong with it. And he also told me the first time I met him that a guru never lies. Power of telling the truth is ultimate energy. And when you tell the truth, if you're that power level, things happen, right?" So she looked at me and shaking her head like, well, it's her husband, but she still wasn't buying into stuff herself, right? And so I got up. I stood up on this thing, put my sandals on, and the foot got straight, swelling went down immediately, the blue went away, and the bleeding stopped. So the next day, I see the guru walking across the ashram, and I follow him, and I go, Guru, thank you for healing my foot." He turns around and goes, "I did not heal your foot. Your belief in my words healed your foot." Didn't take credit for it. It was that faith. And I thought, well, that's really interesting, because I took that story to use one more time. I got called from this world famous psychic. I won't mention her name. I didn't know who she was. I never met her personally. She started to talk, and I said, "Wait a minute." And I said, before you ask your question, I'm going to tell you a story. And I told her that story about the healing of the foot, right? And then okay, I got to go. Bye. And she hung up. She never asked me a question. I go, wow, I guess I come across as a lunatic or something, which could have been possible. Well, when I talk to people, I don't censor the words. I don't say, does this make sense? I mean, why would I say that to somebody, right? So 3 days later, she calls back. And she goes, when you told me that story? And she was a medical doctor, by the way. She was a doctor. She says, I had just had my foot set, was in a cast, a solid cast, 3 days. And because it was, real bad compound fracture or something. It was really bad fracture. She says, but when I heard that story, I imagined that was being told to me by the guru. Mm. And the guru don't lie. Otherwise, you wouldn't be telling me that story. And I go, what? So what'd you do? She says, so she took a scissors and a knife and she cut the cast off that as soon as she hung up. And she's been walking around 3 days. No, nothing wrong. I would have never gave her that advice, and her being a doctor, she knew better. I mean, come on. I'd never tell anybody. I always tell people, go get checked up before you think you got cured. But her belief in my words. And then I told that story with that story added on to it. This other woman that had a real bad problem with her foot at this conference, and she had to stand and talk for 4 hours. Told her that story. She was able to stand and talk for 4 hours, and everything got taken care of. And I mean, she went from terrible pain to okay. Even on the third telling, there was still power in the Guru's words. Well, you know it. You met some Kuhunas, some healers on this island, that when they speak, when they talk, it's all energy. It doesn't matter if they say Humpty Dumpty sat on a wall. It doesn't matter what they say. It's the power of their voice and their energy coming to you. So when I tell you don't worry about what I'm saying, don't worry about what I'm saying. This is about an energy transfer. I want you to think with your heart. And I always tell people that, I'm going to be 78. So I've been telling people that since I was 2 or 3 years old. So I think with my heart. I think about it. And now science has actually proven that certain brain cells, make up the brain. There's a certain percentage of heart cells that are actually brain cells. I learned that on YouTube. What do you know, right? So I just thought it was an intuitive thing, right? But apparently, the heart really is like a brain. And when you align a vertical line with your heart and your mind with good intentions, love. That's the only outcome you want, is love. That aligns it for you. You can't go wrong. Just do the best you can be, the best you can be. That's all you can do. Certainly nobody else wants to be me, so I got to be the best me I can be. The job was open, right? So each of you are Polly's Polly. There's nobody in the whole entire universe, the whole creation, nobody's like you. No, that's a good thing. So I'm telling people, be really, really careful what you think, what you speak about. A few people here today I gave dog tags to. I got them here. Somebody, little military type dog tags. On it, it says, "I am love." And then in Latin, it says, "Love is everything." And I hope those people wear it, because when you label yourself like a bottle of water, when you label a bottle of water love, what happens? It purifies it. It really creates these beautiful crystals, and everybody's aware of that effect. Well, with the body, think twice before you get a tattoo, what it says, what it means, because your body really literally interprets that energy from that. What I'm going to do today, by exchanging energy with you, because I'm actually doing that right now, but everybody, one hand's on. Okay, great. I'm charging your battery. But think for a minute. Think of yourself like a new car sitting on a dealership lot that everybody's forgotten about for 6 months. Car's great. Engine's good. Everything's good, right? But the battery's dead. No. Think of yourself. You got all the potential in the world, but your battery's not fully charged. The energy. So all I'm going to do today is take from the source and give to you your source. And I'm going to help you raise it. Now, that will jumpstart you if you're looking to do energy work. That'll jumpstart you if you're meditating. That'll jumpstart you if you're just trying to change your life. But if you leave here and then you're going to do acid, marijuana, Jack Daniels, all these things, and if you're going to go out and do pornography on the web, all these things retrograde. It takes your energy and diminishes it. Now, there's nothing wrong with being a vegetarian, not a vegetarian, eating meat. But I'm going to tell you, for those that are seeking high levels of energy for healing, you get better energy from vegetables and fruits. Okay? But if you want to eat meat, Okay, I'm just saying, don't go crazy one way or the other. It's always about the heart. I mean, I know a lot of people that they eat all they want, but they got a good heart. That really balances a lot of stuff. But we're talking about the actual energy to heal. And we're going to start with you first, because that you can control. Because people come to me and they go, oh, I want to heal my daughter. She's going through all these things, and I want to heal my mother. And I go, start with you. Just like when I was 18 years old, what did the guy tell me? Start with you. Start with you, because the whole universe is you. There's nothing outside of you, Kathy. Nothing. You are it. And you go, oh my God, how could that be? There is no other place. There's just now and here, in this space, in this time, because there is no time, right? We are all awakened to this dimension right now. So we all believe this is real. So we're here. This is no more real than not here. Tomorrow is no more real than yesterday or today. It is all happening now. Now. What you say about your body is important. That's why on my dog tags it says, I am love. What you say after you say, I am, is really, really important. So when you say, I'm depressed, I'm tired, I'm angry, you're giving it greater energy and life. It becomes a force in your life. If you say you're depressed long enough, you're depressed. Even more so. You just dug a deep hole. Because if you're not charged up and your frequency is not changing and you're not uplifting and all that, that's the source of the problem. And all of you coming here today, you already have the desire to do all these good things. A lot of you are already practicing this stuff. A lot of you already have your own techniques. Great. But your desire is to serve a higher purpose, or you wouldn't be here. You wouldn't be here. And I'll make this statement, and you know what I was talking about yesterday, Joanna. There's no strangers here. Well, we got two. I said, don't worry about it. Let everybody come that wants to come, because some people won't come, and only those people that will come that are supposed to be here. And how do I know you're supposed to be here? Because I've seen you all already on my third near-death experience. If you want it, there's a video on that too. But I had a third near-death experience in 2011. Another whole thing. We won't want to deal with that too much. But basically, one of the things on that experience was this vision of all these people coming in the future. Men, women, children, blacks, whites, Native Americans, Hawaiians, Chinese, Japanese, dogs, even a few cats, dogs, even dogs. So I tell people, I go out and I do workshops, but I haven't met a stranger yet. Because you got to ask yourself, why in the hell would you want to come here, some crazy Irishman talking about all this stuff? Like, who does this guy think he is? So you shouldn't be here for me. You're really here for you. And that's what I really want. Be here for you. Okay? So while I was laying in bed, remembering Self-Realization Fellowship, and one of the things that Yogananda taught was these, what he called recharging exercises. In other words, he gave these exercises. He knew Americans and Westerners would not sit down and do yoga, and all the postures and all that stuff. But he also knew that doing certain physical exercises with tension, dynamic tension, would charge your body. And he said for meditation. And I go, well, that's a lot of charging just for meditation. And at 8.5 years old, I figured out, you know what? If I'm charging this battery, it's good for whatever I want to use that battery for. Meaning it could be good for healing. So I started doing that. And so I went from being chronically ill. Is that the word I'm looking for? I'm never going to get over it. Is that chronically? Yeah. Okay. I have an acute awareness of that it's chronicle. Okay. So, and when I got out of the hospital a year later, first week I was out, my dog, it was a poodle, miniature poodle, got run over by a car about 40 miles an hour. and it was laying out in the road, and the driver that hit it, this guy, I say old guy, he must have been 35 or 40. He was an old guy, 35 or 40. I'm 8.5, right? And the guy was crying. So I took the dog, I sat in a chair, sofa, I put the dog on my lap, and then I kind of just did, I took the energy, I imagined the light and the energy going through the dog's body up and down his spine. I imagined it coming through mine. I imagined I was only 8.5 years old. At that time, I think it was 9.5 then. And then I took my hands thinking, well, this is like an antenna. I'd make it up as I was going along. I said, I'll just take the antenna and I'll just kind of put it on the dog, and boom, there's like electrical flash, like static electricity. The dog goes, woo, gets up, runs around, never went to the veterinarian. That was it. But it was the love in my heart with the dramatic downflow of vertical energy. One works, the other works. Putting them together is a guaranteed. It works. So I learned that at that age that using energy, we're 9.5 years old, right? Using energy and love together is the greatest power for healing in the world. And I still believe that. So that was my first method. Then the second method I talked about when I was 18 years old, living in the islands here, meeting in Kuhuna, David K. Bray in Waikiki in 1964, took me in, said I was his lost teacher. He had other words for that and this whole thing. At 18 years old, trust me, I didn't want to know any of this stuff. I'm going, come on, yeah, you're good. I came to surf, man. I didn't come to become a Kuhuna. So, and now I realize, and I've talked about this several times since I've been here, because I've kind of always told people, well, I had no mentors. I didn't have anybody teaching me anything. I learned all this on my own, and that's bullshit. Excuse the language. I realized that no, known to me or not known to me, people are teaching you. There are mentors. And I think since he passed away in 1968, I think, he's been more of a teacher than he was when he was alive to me. But I finally realized that I'm actually practicing what he told me without me ever acknowledging him as what's the word for teacher? I never acknowledged that. So I'm doing that publicly now just to say, it's not all me. Blame him. But all of us have some mentor. And sometimes a mentor may not even be somebody that you think's a good person. You had a parent that was abusive to you. They were a teacher. You learned something about compassion. You learned something about self-love and forgiveness. You learned about forgiving them. So I've changed I've been changing every decade. I mean, every year it's like, what I believed yesterday, I don't even know if I'm going to believe that tomorrow. And I don't apologize for that. Because if you're still believing exactly as you did at 18 years old, as you do now at your present age, then you haven't done any evolution. There's no evolutionary journey for you. You're ignoring everything. If you're born with a certain religion, a certain culture, certain things, and you've never changed or questioned it, what's going to change? You're going to follow family tradition and everything else. But you know what? God don't care. What religion? That's great. Be happy with it. Practice it. Don't be a hypocrite. Practice it. Whatever it is. It doesn't matter. Burn incense, do, rosary. It doesn't matter. It's what's in your heart. In fact, there's some people I've worked with various illnesses and things. They're happy with their poor me, I'm a victim story, and they don't want to give up what they got. And that is hard to believe. But a lot of people hang on to disease because they get attention, they get cuddling, everybody's feeling sorry for them, they got a story, they got an excuse for not being physically successful or able, they got this disease, they got this problems. And I didn't believe that for a long time. I really met people and I'm going, no, these people really don't want to give up their stories. They're sticking by it. It's like, I'm hurt, this is it. So you got to look at yourselves and say, what part of your story do you want to hold on to? Whatever you believe about you is true. Now that sounds really stupidly like it's trying to be profound, but really think about it in most simplistic things. Whatever you believe about yourself is true. I'm fat, I'm skinny, who cares? You know, I'm a human. That's all that counts, right? But whatever you think about yourself, that's like the people who say, well, whatever I eat, I gain weight. Well, you know what happens? Everything they eat, they gain weight. I mean, I'm a victim of that myself at times. It's like, whoa, wait a minute, I'm telling myself a story here. What's going on, right? So that's how I healed teeth. That's how I healed the pain from these things. I've taken veterans who have burn victims. You know, they got blown up and the arms burned off, the hand or something, their nose is burned off, and apparently it's really, really, really terrible pain. I had some wife call me up I don't normally answer the phone at 1 or 2 in the morning because it's annoying. I mean, you have to have your borders. But she said her husband was suicidal and because the pain was so great. And so I did something with him, and actually something so simple because I really wouldn't accept anything else. Let's say you're having an anxiety attack. So I asked in India about that. And they have a form of treatment that they've been using for like 3,000 years. It's namaste position. You look at it. You breathe in and out slowly. It's better than a paper bag. And all of a sudden you got in control. As stupid as that is, it worked for this guy. It's like, no, just, you don't tell them it's a namaste. Just say, put your hands in prayer. You got to deal with people where they're at, right? So, but it's the focus on the breath. When you focus on your pain, you increase it. And I'm talking physical pain, mental pain, spiritual pain. It doesn't matter. They're all pain bodies. They're all hurting. So what we're trying to do by recharging you today is to get you to attune your body, your mind, and your spirit on the same frequency. Picture each of them as a tuning fork. You know, if one's in tune, if they're all supposed to be the same, this one should vibrate that one should vibrate that one. But if this is a whole different frequency here, because it's low, you're not fully complete. And if you're looking for partial help or partial health, you're only focusing on the body, you're missing the whole thing. The body's a symptom. What do you mean the symptom? No, that's the symptom. The problem lies with the mind and the spirit. But it always starts with the spirit, then it goes to the mind or whatever. But if you line up the spirit, it takes care of the mind, and then the mind will take care of the body. It flows. So as you go out into the world, you got to look at yourself and say, what is my purpose? Why am I here? Reverend Bill's saying, love is the highest power. When I was a lifeguard, I'll tell you this story because it's kind of, I'm trying to get your minds into the healing mode here. When you go through lifeguard school, especially like in the Army, you're told when you start CPR, when you start mouth-to-mouth with somebody, you do not take it on your own to make the decision to quit. You keep going until you're relieved by a paramedic, by a fireman, somebody official, right? A nurse, doctor, somebody. And so I'm going down the Sacramento River in a raft, which I never do except this one time. And I see all these people at the end of the beach, and they're dragging a 17-year-old young man out of the water. He's just laying there on the thing. And I run down the beach, and they're just everybody's standing there. This guy's, no pulse, no breath. I asked a couple quick questions. How long is he down? They said, well, we've been looking for him for 9 minutes, looking for him. But he'd been out swimming 25 minutes before that. We had no idea when he was missing. And they found his body and they dragged it out. And they figured, well, he's dead, and I'm going, So I get the kid, I do him mouth to mouth, and he revives. But the whole time I'm looking at the audience, and it's all young people. And there's this, what I call California surfer girl, kind of like, blonde hair, with that 16-year-old look. I mean, she looks like, what was it, Gidget, right? She kind of looks like Gidget on the beach, right? And she's just like this, right? And I finally get the guy revived. I said, I don't give up. Everybody's going, he's dead, stop, dead, stop. I go, no. And I look at her and I go, what is wrong with you? All you and your friends did was just kind of look down at the gravel here, doing nothing, and your friend was dead to you. I mean, what were you doing? She says, oh, no, mister, we were doing something. I said, what were you doing? She says, we were praying to Jesus that he would send somebody who knew what he was doing. And I go, what? And you came. I'm going, oh, okay, great. Anyway, story is, nobody's dead till they're dead. But everybody needs love. And love makes a difference. And I never mentioned this before, but when somebody's dying around you, realize the last thing to go is their hearing. Be kind. Oh, the old fart's dead. Let's go get his will. I mean, that's the time to really say goodbye and you love somebody. You can't take anything with you but love. And it's not important, and this is going to sound crazy, but listen to the whole thing. It's not important who loves you. What's important is when you leave, who did you love? Did you love your enemy? Did you love the people that didn't love you? Did you love your neighbors? Did you love your family? Who did you love? Who did you give your love to? That's the only thing that counts. Who did you love? In the end, no other question is important. All right. So that's the healing that we've been through. Now, how do we do it? I'm going to show you, I've already shown you this, whatever part of the body you got. You can touch, give it love. And if you're not able to touch it, it's inside, you just put your hand someplace. And if you can't touch it at all, at your back or something, visualize that place. Visualize that place. Send it love. And that's how you deal with that. When you start trying to heal other people, unless you're actually in the arts of healing and that's your job, because there's a difference. You're trying to do good things. You have to consider the karmic ramifications. You just don't randomly go out there and heal people. As I found a guru in India told me the story. He's in this village, and the people in the village are telling me the story where the local town drunk and bad guy, he got stage 4 or 5, whatever the bad cancer is, right? And he goes to the guru and goes, cure me this, and I'll give you money, and I'll be your greatest devotee, and I'll be there for you, and all that stuff. So the guru goes, okay. So he cures the guy, and the guy's supposed to be dead in 6 months. 9 months go by, and all of a sudden he gets this family yelling and screaming at him and showing up at the ashram. They go, it's your fault. What did I do? He says, that guy was supposed to be dead in 6 months. Now it's 9 months later, and guess what? He was drunk on the road, and he killed my family with his car. That would have never happened had he not been healed by you. That's your karma. And the guru said, yes, that's my karma. He didn't exercise wisdom. That's all I'm saying. Now, if you got a child, a dog, family member, a spouse, forget all that. Do whatever you want. It's all about love. So I'm just saying, when you're going out and start doing others, just see if there's that voice that says, yes, that's okay, do it. And always leave it up to the person. If you take credit for healing people, then you're also going to pick up the karma. But if you say, you know what, this is yours, you give it to the energy and go, it's you. If you heal you, I'm just helping you, regulate your energy. That's all. It's you. You're doing it or not doing it. I don't want credit. I'm not going to get the blame. It's karmic free. That's what I'm telling you. There is a difference. But if you're advertising yourself, come to me, I'm going to cure you, without any wisdom applied to how, where, when. But when you tell somebody, this is your responsibility, you heal you. And that's where we're at. All right. So there's, I love me, I forgive me, and have the gratitude. You guys all got that nailed here. Piece of cake. But when you apply it, you have to believe it. If you're just mouthing it or thinking it, then it's like, yeah, I ain't going to cure my broken teeth, right? I mean, I could have went that route. No, it was me. It was like, no, this is it. It's going to work. You ever wonder why placebos work? Because you believe in it. As I said at the beginning of this thing, what did I say? The eyes are really the great healers. So when you're healing somebody, I always eyeball them. I tell them, look at me. I want them to see themselves in me. I see me in them. It's all one. But just by doing that, if they had great faith and they believe what I'm saying, I'm done. I mean, it's not me that's making that decision. Kathy decides, hey, whatever he does, I'm happy it's going to work. Great, it'll work. Joy's saying, well, show me, guy. Show me, right? Yeah. But it's not my failure or my glory if you're healed or not healed. Can you accept that? All this is your responsibility. You heal you. No one else does. You can use a doctor, you can use medicine, you can use chiropractor, you can use acupuncture, use whatever you want. Bottom line is, you choose to heal. And then I said, then you got to consider this. I told you I don't ask God to do anything, and I still stand by that. You should be willing to accept what is. Realize that this accident, injury, or illness that you have, it's karmic. There's a reason that you're going through this. And let's say you're working out past karma. That's some pretty tough stuff, right? And the body's going, well, we'll take it on. We'll get rid of this karma for you. And now you got rid of it. Now where's that karma going to be worked out? In your relationships maybe, or something, another part of your life? You still got that hanging there. You just treated the symptom. That's a symptom. It's all spiritual disease. Change your spiritual frequency. You've changed your karma. That's it. That's it in a nutshell. Okay. I'm going to show you the simple technique. Those that want me to put hands on, realize I am just infusing you with energy for your battery. It's you. You take that, maintain it, live clean, free, do all the right things. You can keep that energy growing. It's great. If nothing else, everybody's going to come out of here with a spiritual healing of some level. Some of you are going to come out with a mental, emotional healing. Some of you will end up physically actually being better. You've been around. We've had actual healings taking place at some of these events. I mean, literally 4, 5, 3, 4, whatever it is, the group. We hear about it later on. Oh, yeah, I had to cancel surgery. I didn't need it, all kinds of stuff. It's not my fault. I'm not that great. It's you. That's why I'm spending so much time in getting you to buy into this. It's you. It's you. Francis, it's you. You're in control. You're not a victim. So, the greatest thing about this is, okay, you get a cure, great. But maybe you're just seeking and needing. Maybe your body just needs pain relief. That's worth a lot. I'm serious. It's like with the back. Back's still messed up, but I don't feel any pain. So it's like, that's great. I can live with that. All right. Who wants to be volunteer guinea pig here?